this here in the States. It's multiple publications that's reporting it in the United States. And look,
Becoming working roles with the monarchy.
No, I don't think it's ever going to be possible.
It has finally come to pass. After years of distance, defiance, and carefully constructed separation, Prince Harry's return to the United Kingdom didn't resemble a triumphant homecoming. It looked more like a retreat. There were no cheering crowds, no proud arrival. Instead, he stepped off the plane with hunched shoulders and tired eyes, moving quickly toward a waiting car, as though the very ground beneath him no longer felt safe. This wasn't a moment of nostalgia. It was an exercise in containment.
Complete, and bar a complete about-face by the Sussexes, it is fine. For Harry then, perhaps, a sense of long-sought.
As whispers of the so-called truth about Meghan Markle's pregnancies spread through elite legal circles, now cautiously labeled as allegations, Prince Harry didn't push back. Instead, he retreated, drawing closer to the monarchy, the one institution with the power to withstand a revelation of this scale. That's where the real story ignites. A former legal consultant from the Sussex team recounts a pivotal night. No press, no scripted responses, just a quiet room, heavy silence, and Harry's unraveling confession. He reportedly admitted the unimaginable. In a recent interview that left fans reeling, he revealed Meghan never carried their children. The public narrative was a carefully crafted facade, one she demanded and he endorsed, to shield their family. Back then, Harry saw secrecy as protection, silence as armor. But over time, that silence became his greatest burden. Sources close to the situation describe Harry as changed, no longer angry or defensive, no denials or media blame. Just profound emptiness, eroded by regret, not over surrogacy itself, but the web of deception that enveloped it, thickening year by year. "I just wanted to protect my family," he allegedly whispered. "I never thought it would go this far." Those words capture it all. Harry didn't orchestrate a downfall. He stumbled into one, choice by choice. When he realized the narrative was slipping beyond control, something in him shattered. Then there's the shadowy figure at the heart of it all, known only as DL, her full identity shielded for legal reasons. According to insiders, she's not merely linked to this saga, she's its core.
His responses in a recent interview stunned fans. What did he say?
But DL's silence didn't last forever. She insists she was far more than a mere surrogate. She claims to be the biological mother of both Archie and Lilibet, providing not just her womb but her own eggs. In her account, she holds irrefutable evidence: DNA tests, sealed medical records, private emails, and signed documents buried under layers of confidentiality agreements never intended to see daylight. For years, DL stayed hidden, bound by ironclad NDAs that promised silence in exchange for security, generous compensation, and a clean break. She was assured protection, ongoing support, and absolute anonymity. None of it materialized, she says. Payments stopped short. Follow-ups vanished. After delivery, she was ghosted, systematically erased from records, from contact, from existence. No acknowledgement, no gratitude, just deliberate oblivion. DL endured the quiet because she trusted the agreements would hold. She believed in the finality they offered. But when that trust shattered, when promises turned to abandonment, everything changed. She refused to be vanished twice. Now, she's ready to speak. And the evidence, she claims, will speak louder. That choice, to break her silence, transformed a tightly guarded secret into an impending storm. To trace DL's entry into this hidden world, we rewind to late 2018. That's when, she claims, an intermediary from an exclusive fertility clinic, catering to the ultra-private needs of celebrity and elite clients, reached out. The pitch was straightforward. A high-profile couple sought discreet assistance building their family. Total confidentiality. Substantial compensation. Meticulous oversight every step of the way. DL consented. She signed the binding contracts, integrated into the clinic's secure protocols, and adhered rigorously to every directive, appointments, procedures, medical guidelines. Even staff, she alleges, were kept in the dark about the true identities of the intended parents, fed only fragments of information. She endured the pregnancies. She delivered. But what began as a controlled, compensated arrangement, she says, unraveled into abandonment and now into defiance.
He was born at home at Frogmore Cottage in Windsor, or whether he was indeed born.
And with delivery came the final severance. The door closed softly. No farewell, no check-in, no trace of gratitude. DL claims she was excised from the narrative entirely, a ghost in her own story. What followed wasn't mere privacy, it was reinvention. A polished public version emerged, joyful announcements, radiant photos, meticulously staged moments. To the world, it was a modern royal fairy tale. But beneath it, DL alleges, the foundation was already fracturing. Initially, scrutiny was minimal. When Buckingham Palace declared Meghan in labor, anticipation surged. Then swiftly the update, Archie was here. The sequence seemed abrupt yet innocuous, attributed to the couple's push for privacy, a break from tradition. DL paints a starkly different picture. She insists the birth wasn't rushed, it was delayed in announcement. Archie, she claims, arrived weeks earlier, not in a London hospital under royal watch, but discreetly in the United States. No media frenzy, no iconic steps pose, just a hushed delivery and enforced quiet if true. That Windsor Castle reveal, 2 days later, wasn't a fresh debut. It was a scripted unveiling, engineered to align with a pre-crafted timeline. Labor bulletins, birth timings, the glaring lack of hospital leaks, all, per DL, orchestrated to conceal the actual events. Retrospectively, anomalies surface. Meghan's poised appearance mere days postpartum, elegant in heels, composed, with no visible signs of recent delivery. The public lauded her poise and resilience. DL proposes another interpretation. Meghan hadn't endured labor at all. That celebrated moment, she alleges, wasn't authentic privacy, it was theater. Here, the tale shifts from personal betrayal to institutional risk. Concealing a birth extends beyond optics. It permeates official records. DL asserts her name vanishes from every public-facing document. No discharge papers, no certificates, no links to the children. She claims explicit instructions, leave no trace, not even a signature. If executed, the deception wasn't just veiled. It was legally rebuilt, rewriting history in ink that could never be challenged.
Oh my gosh, Boris, how did you do there, shall we?
What chills the narrative most isn't the secrecy, it's the quiet containment that followed. Months after Archie's birth, his certificate underwent a subtle amendment. Meghan's given names, Rachel Meghan, vanished, replaced solely by Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. Officially, it was dismissed as a clerical tweak to align with protocol. INDL's shadow account, it reads as something far darker, not correction, but erasure, a legal firewall to seal cracks before they spread. And here, the monarchy steps into focus, not as antagonist, but as an ancient machinery suddenly questioning the integrity of what it safeguards. Royal succession isn't pageantry, it's binding law. Mismatched records don't spark outrage, they trigger audits, contingencies, quiet fortifications. In that fortified silence, Prince Harry boarded a flight home. No fanfare accompanied his arrival. No statements, no leaks, no polished narrative of family time. He touched down discreetly, exited through a private channel, and vanished into unmarked cars. For a man who'd once sworn off returning on the institution's terms, the absence of protest spoke volumes. This wasn't rebellion. It was capitulation to an unraveling truth. Behind palace doors, the reception was clinical, no royal embraces, no recriminations, just lawyers and sprawling files. Timelines dissected, documents stacked, risks quantified. The firm doesn't rage, it assesses. Harry didn't fight it. Insiders describe him as subdued, measured, speaking deliberately, as if voicing long-rehearsed confessions he'd never dared release. He laid out what he knew, what he believed, and, crucially, what he didn't. He admitted blind spots. Unsigned papers, unasked questions, unchecked details, all deferred in the name of trust, of protecting the facade sold as family armor. That vulnerability shifted the room's gravity. This ceased being rogue prince versus rigid crown. It became exposure to liability, the chilling prospect that the monarchy had endorsed a narrative potentially divorced from fact. Correct it publicly? Risk implosion? Sustain the veil? Invite deeper decay? Powerful institutions eternally wrestle this dilemma: unveil and fracture, or contain and corrode. As precedents were poured over and protocols invoked, another timer ticked relentlessly. In this shadowed chronicle, she hasn't acted rashly. Here's a rewritten continuation, weaving seamlessly into the escalating tension while sharpening the focus on DL's measured resolve, Harry's protective fears, and the institutional tightrope DL didn't rush into the spotlight. No frantic tabloid leaks, no cryptic social media hints, just methodical assembly of a professional shield: lawyers, medical experts, media strategists. Not for vengeance or notoriety, she insists, but for simple recognition. The deepest wound, per her account, wasn't the secrecy itself. It was the total erasure, carrying lives in her body, enduring the emotional toll, signing into a legal framework, only to be rendered invisible as if she'd never been part of the equation. Her team worked in shadows, authenticating documents, aligning timelines, verifying digital trails. The goal? If revelation came, it would arrive as indisputable fact, not fodder for gossip or smears. And facts, in this realm, are detonators. Word of DL's quiet mobilization reached palace corridors weeks ahead of any public ripple, fueling the urgency behind Harry's abrupt return. When proof slips beyond containment, containment becomes crisis management. In those hushed meetings, Harry reportedly fixated on one haunting query: if this breaks, what happens to the kids? Not titles, not headlines, not reputation, their stability. Archie and Lilibet were innocent, living children with futures unchosen. In this telling, Harry dreaded them becoming pawns in a war of narratives. Advisors delivered stark counsel: truth doesn't harm children. Chaos does. And chaos loomed large. The core peril wasn't surrogacy. The monarchy could have absorbed and managed that discreetly, legally, humanely, if disclosed transparently from the start. The fracture lay in misrepresentation. If records had been molded to narrative rather than reality, the institution risked complicity in a fragile construct. Hence the resolute silence. Not deflection, but calculated fortification. Once verifiable evidence surfaces, motive fades. Law demands only accuracy, and accuracy spares no one. ASDL edged closer to voice. Speculation ignited across media, not from confirmed leaks, but from resurfacing anomalies. Timelines that strained belief, announcements oddly sequenced, the void of standard medical corroboration. What once passed as eccentric privacy now lingered as enigma. Unresolved enigmas refuse eternal burial. From within those fortified walls, Harry observed the gathering storm. Not through spokespeople or legal buffers anymore, but as a father grappling with the consequences of loyalty mistaken for love, of silence sold as salvation. He'd upheld the version presented because he thought devotion demanded it. Questioning would shatter the family he'd fought to build. But now, the cost of that unquestioning faith stared back, unblinking. In the end, upholding the story didn't safeguard anyone. It splintered Harry from within. Close friends recount sleepless nights, endless pacing, repeated pleas to review documents, as if sheer persistence could rewrite their implications. He sought no scapegoats, only clarity, and clarity proves treacherous. Once the full mosaic emerges, feigning ignorance becomes impossible. The most shattering exchange, per those privy to it, unfolded when Harry probed the long-term fallout. Would amending records now shield the children, or scar them? The response offered no solace. No tidy resolution exists, one advisor replied. Only the least destructive truth. That phrase echoed relentlessly. In sagas of this magnitude, victory eludes all parties, only varying allocations of harm. ASDL's team edged toward a possible televised disclosure. A quieter path materialized. Private mediation, restrained acknowledgement, legal rectification sans circus. A bid to realign records without total unraveling. Yet mediation demands consensus, and consensus demands trust. Here, trust lay in ruins. DL rejected further silence as self-preservation. Harry saw it as no longer viable for anyone. The institution recognized it couldn't endure indefinitely. Fracture was inevitable. The only variable, its form. Harry's UK return wasn't factional allegiance. It was surrender to inexorable pull, seeking refuge in the entity equipped to weather fallout, rather than raging from afar. For the first time post-departure, he wasn't battling the monarchy, he was pleading for aid. That shift alone underscored the depth of the crisis. When a bridge burner quietly recrosses scorched planks, it signals not frailty, but awareness that flames are encroaching. This chapter transcends mere scandal. It's a profound reckoning. Can traditions rooted in permanence withstand architectures of artifice? Can love, once armored in deception, reclaim authenticity? Can a father who shielded his family through complicity now safeguard them by aiding its deconstruction? Harry didn't retreat to Britain in defeat, he did so because the mirage had fractured. Illusions don't explode with thunder, they evaporate, exposing only the enduring, raw, unvarnished reality.